Welcome back to Royally Quack, guys. Episode number 13. I'm Cody Spink, the Ducks fan, and I'm joined by my fellow co-host,
Gary Spink, the LA Kings fan.
All right.
And Timo Solani. I love Timo Solani. So,
Yeah. Can never go wrong with going for Timu.
yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to go straight into our team news. So we're going to start off with the Kings news.
Okay, Kings fans. We do have at least our backup goalkeeper for next season. Big Save Dave signed a 1-year extension for $1 million. Congratulations, Dave. I think this is a great move. He played well over $1 million worth of hockey for us last year. And I bet you he will this year. So that's one piece of news. And then the second piece of news, there's not a whole lot right now. The Kings and coach Trent Yanni agreed to part ways. Thanks, Trent, for your years of service. The Pittsburgh Penguins have been said to have interest in Arthur Kaliev. What do you think about that, Kings fans? What would you want to get in return? Or do you want to give Arthur Kaliev another chance? It's a good question. I'm torn on that one. Now, I'm going to give you... Cody and I were talking the other day, and he gave me this trade idea, so I thought I'd throw it into the podcast, and I didn't even tell him.
Yeah.
His trade idea was P.L. Dubois, Arthur Kaliev, and a second-round pick to the Boston Bruins for Linus Ullmark. Tell us what you think. I think that might, right there, would really help the salary cap problem we have.
I think it would help both teams, to be honest.
Well, I don't care about the Bruins.
I'm just saying, like, because Boston needs a center and everything. I just don't know if he would want to go to Boston, but I know Boston's always been looking for centers since they lost their top two centers last season.
Yeah,
but they were good this year. But you can still tell, like, if you're going to make it deep in the playoffs, you got to have better centers than that.
Well, and what we don't know, we do know that Ullmark does have a trade veto because there was a trade last year with the Kings and he turned it down, obviously, because Boston was, possibly a Stanley Cup finalist or champion possible. But maybe this year, now that, Swayman has just blown right by him.
Yeah.
He's going to be the number one. So he might be willing for a trade. And what I don't know is how much of a trade veto P.L. Dubois has. I don't think Arthur Kaliev has much of a say in that. So, and our second round pick definitely doesn't have any say in that. So tell us what you think, guys. We're curious. Are there any other interesting trade ideas? Okay. And be in realization that we can't get like McDavid for Kaliev straight up.
Oh,
that's not going to ever fly. Although I would make that trade in about 2 seconds. But let us know what you guys think. Now we're going to go to Duck news.
Well, how about Connor McDavid for a bag of pucks? I would make that trade.
I'd take Draisaitl too.
Yeah. All right, guys. Nothing much news on the Duck side too. This is like the slow time of the year for news. But both assistant coaches, Newell Brown and Craig Johnson, both their contracts will not be renewed for next year. Ducks fans, let's rejoice. Newell Brown is gone. Him and his stupid special teams strategies is just god awful. I'm super excited because now those were the last two pieces coaching wise from the Dallas Eakins era. So now Greg Cronin and Verbeek can team up and actually pick who they want for their assistant coaches.
Hey, I know they can't see you, Cody, but I can. Would you stop dancing on the table?
Oh, sorry.
I know you're excited about the news, but please, have some restraint, would you?
Shots all around, guys. Next bit of news. The Ducks promoted Rick Patterson to general manager of the San Diego Gulls. And then the assistant general manager, Rob DeMello, is leaving the club due to personal reasons. And Mike Stapleton will be the new assistant general manager. So that's a little bit of news about that. And then last bit of news for the Ducks is the Ducks signed, I believe it was their, I want to say he was their 5th round pick. I'll have to pull up his elite prospects page. The Ducks signed Rodwin Dionisio to a 3-year ELC contract. For you guys that don't know, ELC means entry level contract. Pretty much just like a rookie contract, pretty much. So I'm excited about this
kid. That's what an
kid.
ELC is. It's a rookie contract.
Yeah, that's what.
So they get paid so much to play in the minors.
Yeah,
they get more money if they go to the NHL.
Yeah. So I'll pull up his stats on a later podcast, because we're probably going to go over prospects and stuff like that in a later date. So, but I'm excited to see him playing he'll probably be playing for the Goals next year. So I'm excited for him. I feel like for the round they got him in was like a steal. And they were talking about that like the minute he got drafted. So, yeah. And then league news.
Okay, one more bit of Kings news I forgot to mention.
Uh-oh.
The Reign are in the Pacific Division Championship against Coachella Valley. They're playing today. They're down 0-2, guys. But Coachella is like leaps and bounds. They're like the Montreal Canadiens were for a while, just way better than everybody else. That's the Kraken's minor league team. They dominated last year, and they are definitely.
Last year was their first year in the AHL, and that's pretty much the minor leagues for the teams.
It'd be like AAA in baseball, guys.
Or like the G League and basketball,
right?
The Coachella Valley Firebirds are the Seattle Kraken's minor league team, pretty much. So like that's whenever you see a player getting called up, it's more than likely from the Coachella from your AHL team,
right? Now we can go to league news.
Yeah, and then the Coachella Valley Fire was their first year last year, and they went all the way to the final and lost in overtime of Game 7 to the Hershey Bears. The Hershey Bears is Washington Capitals minor league team.
Hershey's good again, right?
Yeah, I think they have. They're
might
like
be
the
the
best
two
record.
teams back into that final again.
Yeah, so
wow,
some good AHL teams they have there. All right, and then all right, we'll go into league news. You want to lead this one off, or you want me to?
Sure, I'll start with one. I'll take the first one. You take the second one, and I'll take the last one. How's that?
I'll take the last one because if you read it, I got more of the news for that one.
Perfect. Then I'll read the first one. You can read the last two, I'll go have a beer. I'm just kidding.
Can you bring me one?
I wish. I'll throw it through the screen.
There you go.
Okay. Okay, so the Toronto Maple Leafs not settled on. I think they probably got the most sought after coach. I think Craig Berube was probably the most sought after coach and signed him to a 4-year deal. And you're going to probably see some changes coming in Toronto. I mean, not dramatic changes, but there's changes because they're like the Kings. Their salary cap strapped. So, but I think that was a great hire, honestly. Great hire. So now on to you, Cody, for the rest of the league news.
Yeah, he got a 4-year deal there too. Normally for coaches, you usually see it 2 to 3 years, so that's good. And then per Elliot Friedman on the 32 Thoughts podcast, the Carolina Hurricanes are not expected to sign right-handed defenseman Brett Pesce, who's going to be a UFA, and forward Martin Necas, the RFA. And I don't know if you guys have remembered, I've talked about Martin Necas on this podcast before. One of the other podcasts that I listened to, Crash the Pond, they were saying they could see the Ducks making a trade for Carolina's Martin Necas, like a Vetrano and our second first round pick for him, or something in the lineup like that. So,
So your opinion is Natchez is that much better than Vetrano?
yes, I would rather have Martin H's than Vetrano. So,
Okay.
hands down, yeah. I feel like he's he's
Question
also 5 years younger.
Question
Or,
answered.
yeah,
5 years younger. Yeah, I got you. Okay.
yeah, and I think he's just has a higher floor and ceiling than Vetrano does.
Yeah, you might have gotten the best of ever
Yeah.
last year from Vetrano.
Here, I actually just added. I forgot to add a league news one. I'll let you read the next one. I don't know if you saw it or not.
Oh, I just saw it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take that one then.
Yeah.
And there was questions that this may happen, but Rod Brindamore has re-signed with the Carolina Hurricanes, and I think that was on their part, the Carolina Hurricanes, a very smart choice.
Yes.
The players love playing for him, and he's a great coach. He would have been right there with maybe even ahead of Berube if he would have been free.
Yeah, if he would have been free, I could totally see Toronto's like, hey, we'll give you whatever you want.
Yeah.
But honestly, I couldn't have seen him leaving Carolina.
Me either. We like we tell you before. We both kind of drive for a living, and when we're on the road, and we'll talk. And he had talked about, I wonder if he's going to resign. Now that he's got knocked out, are they going to resign him? And I go, they'd be stupid not to. Isn't that what I said?
Oh yeah, I agree.
So
if he was the captain of the 2006 Hurricanes Stanley Cup team too, so a little bit of news there too. And then all right, last bit of news. There's going to be a new Major League Hockey league coming this fall. Let me pull up So the Major League Hockey, this is from what we know about North America's newest professional hockey league, and it's supposed to be, like I said, launched this fall. Each game will be 24 minutes long with an intermission in the middle as a halftime. Every win, a team gets an award of $100,000 to split amongst the players and staff. Women's players will also be eligible to play in the league. All right.
wow.
Yeah. And it's supposed to be like a 3-on-3 league too.
So it's going to be a lot less players. Oh, it's going to be, I'm going to tell you, I'm already excited about this, guys, because you're going to see a lot more fun stuff with less players on the ice.
Here's just a few rumored cities to get a team. Quebec City, in Quebec, obviously. Hamilton, Ontario. Vancouver, Saskatoon, Kansas City, Omaha, Tempe, Arizona. It's funny how they can get a team and the Coyotes can't. Sorry. New York City, San Diego, New England, and Oklahoma City. And I know there was a little bit more news about that. But like I said, if there's like a full, I know they tried doing like another 3-on-3 one. But I know it didn't really work, but let's see if I can pull it up. Major League Hockey. Is it going to pull anything up? No, it's just going to be NHL stuff.
Well, more news to come on that.
Yeah. Well, as soon as more news come out, I'll let you guys know. So now we'll go on to the World Championship updates.
Okay.
All right.
So
you want to go over group? You want to do Group A? I'll do Group B.
Okay.
All right.
So what we're going to give you right now is where they stand as of right now. So in Group A, there's 8 teams: Canada, Czechia, Switzerland, Austria, Finland, Denmark, Norway, and Great Britain. Great Britain's in last, just in case you were curious. Canada's number 1. They've won 5 clear wins and 1 overtime win. And the points are different in the World Championships for points and an overtime win. So they have a total of 17 points in 6 games. And then it's Czechia, 15 points in 6 games. Switzerland, 14 points in 6 games. And then after that, I'm not sure how many people go forward. Is it 8 teams total go into the playoffs? I'm not really sure.
I believe the top 4 go on.
Okay, well, you got Austria and Finland. And Finland's got a game in hand, so they both have 7 points. After that, the rest of them, they're pretty much, I think, out of it. So, I mean, Norway has only got 3 points, and Great Britain has 0 points. So
I don't know. Great Britain could make that miraculous comeback.
Sure. They've got 6 goals for, 23 against. I mean, compared to Canada, 28 for, 15 goals against.
Yeah.
Czechia, 23 and 10. Switzerland, who usually isn't a player. I mean, they're good, but they're just below all the top dogs. They're 26 goals for, 11 against. And I don't know if I mentioned it. Kevin Fiala's playing for them. So obviously we got another king. I was kind of surprised. I never saw an announcement for it. That's why I didn't say something about it.
I also believe Roman Yossi's playing.
Oh no, Yossi is playing.
Yeah, and then Nino Niederreiter from Winnipeg, I believe he might be playing there too.
Well, there's a lot of good guys from Switzerland and the NHL guys.
Who's the other one? Hischier? Nico Hischier.
Yeah, Nico Hischier.
The New Jersey Devils captain.
Yeah, he was one of the leading scorers in the tournament.
Timo Meyer, also Switzerland, from Swiss?
I'm not sure. That's a good question. I don't know.
Okay, we can look that up later.
You know, if you want to go over to the other side, I'll look up Team Sweden.
Okay,
or Team Switzerland, and I'll give you if he is playing for them.
Okay. All right. In Group B, we got Team Sweden. They've played 5 games and have 15 points. Team USA is in second with 6 games played and 13 points. Team Germany has played 6 games, 12 points. In fourth, you got Slovakia, has played 6 games, 12 points. Latvia in fifth with 6 games at 9 points. Team France with 5 games with 4 points. And Kazakhstan has played 6 games with 3 points, and Poland has played 6 games with 1 point. Looks like I think the favorite in this group is obviously Team Sweden. I mean, 26 goals for and only 7 against, and I mean their top pairing is Erik Karlsson and Victor Hedman. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
2 Norris Trophy winners.
Yeah, exactly. Very recent. I think they both won it within the last 5 years too.
Yeah, because Karlsson was last year.
Yeah. And then Team USA, and then I just saw, I think with the win they had today, that Johnny Gaudreau has scored the most points for Team USA player in the World Championships with, I think, a total of 43 points total. I believe that's what it said. But it looks like the top 4 teams is obviously going to be Sweden, USA, Germany, and Slovakia. I'm actually surprised. That explains why USA has so many goals for, is because of the 10-1 win they had. So
yeah, but a big one, yeah. But no Timo Meyer on Switzerland.
Okay, maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. Okay. But so it looks like I think they do. I can't remember. I'm not as familiar with the World Championships as I am like with the NHL and how they do everything, because I know they do their points differently. I believe if you win in regulation, it's 3 points. If you win in overtime, it's 2. And then
if you lose in overtime, it's 1.
Yeah, and then if you lose in regulation,
that makes more
it's 0.
sense.
Which I think the NHL should do, to be honest, because it would give teams a reason to not have to go to overtime, and maybe that could help out with the whole 3-on-3 overtime thing. So yeah. Anyways, move on to NHL playoffs.
NHL playoffs.
All right. So 3 of the 4 teams have officially moved on. We'll start with the Eastern Conference because that one's already done.
Yeah.
Which one do you want to talk about?
I'll talk about the Florida and Boston.
All right, go for it.
Yeah, Florida took out Boston, guys. I mean, I think they were down, came back and won that game. Was that where they scored the 3 goals late? Pretty sure it was.
All right. Well, while you're looking that up, in Game 1, Boston won 5-1 over Florida. And Game 2, Florida won 6-1. Game 3, Florida won 6-2. And then Game 4, Florida won 3-2. And then in Game 5, Boston won 2-1. And then in Game 6, Florida
2-1. But they were down 1-0 for most of the game.
Yeah.
And then they scored 2 quick goals.
Yeah. So.
And, Boston just, Boston probably needs P.L. Dubois. What do you guys think? I mean, Ullmark didn't play for him. And Swayman's going to be number 1 because he was incredible. I mean, really.
Yeah. None of the losses, I would say, were his fault at all. He was great.
Even though he gave up 6 goals in 1 game.
And then 5 the next?
No, 2 games in a row. Or no, Ullmark played in one of those, didn't he?
I don't think he did. Did he? I don't remember. But I'll let you look it up. I'll talk about the Rangers Carolina series. The Rangers won in 6 games. You had the Rangers winning 4-3 in the first game, and also 4-3 in the second game in a double overtime. The third game, Rangers also won in overtime 3-2. And then Carolina came back, winning game number 4, 4-3 to stay alive. And then they won game 5, 4-1. And then they choked in the last game and lost 5-3 to get eliminated. So the Rangers will play Florida for the Eastern Conference Final.
Oh, man, that is going to be one hell of a series.
That is going to be a great series. You got the battle of the Russian goalies, Igor versus Sergei. And both of them are playing great right now.
They are.
Still can't find it? I don't think he played.
I thought he played 1 game. I thought they gave him. Maybe I'm thinking, you know what? I always get.
I think he came in relief in one of the games.
Well, Swayman played. Oh, those are just shifts.
All right.
Yeah, we'll move on.
Yeah. So in the Western Conference side, one of the series is done. The other one we won't find out till I think tomorrow night. Yeah. I believe. So Dallas won the series over Colorado 4-2. That was guys. All these series were great, by the way. Just letting this load up. So Colorado won the first game in overtime 4-3. And then Dallas won game 2, 5-3. And then Dallas won the next 2 games, 4-1 and 5-1 to take a 3-1 series lead. And then in game 5, not Vancouver, Colorado won 5-3. And then in the last game, in game 6, in double overtime, Dallas won 2-1 to win the series 4-2.
I saw that game-winning goal. I didn't get home till like 10:40 from work on Friday night, and I turned the TV on and watched the game.
Yeah,
that was fun.
Yeah,
that's 2 very competitive teams. 2 easily could be Stanley Cup champion teams. There's so many Stanley Cup possible champion teams in this playoff, guys. It's probably one of the best playoffs in years.
Yeah.
As far as competitive. They're just competitive. So competitive.
Round 2 was way better than round 1, though.
Oh, God, yes. Well, yeah, you got rid of Capitals. You got rid of the Islanders. Got rid of the Kings. I mean, all those teams got dominated.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, you look at it, they got 4 games to 1 on 2 of them, and 4-2 on the other one.
Yeah, there was a
one was 4-0.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? So it was funny. I don't know if you guys saw on the Instagram story that I posted. A buddy of mine, Lewis, he was watching the Dallas and Colorado game, and I guess he came home from work one night. I believe this is how it happened, and his wife was watching the Colorado Dallas series. So, like I said, I didn't make this podcast. I wanted to talk about hockey because I love talking about it. And if this podcast becomes a success or not, I'm just happy I've at least turned a couple of people who've never watched hockey into watching hockey and everything. And they're asking questions too. So, like I said, I'm just glad that, just from our little tiny podcast that we have at least turned at least one person or two people technically into hockey fans, which there needs to be more love in the hockey world.
And we're going to help you guys with that.
Yeah. And any questions, guys, feel free to ask us.
Well, not just that, man. I got to tell you, and we'll get to this, but we already have the question of the day is going to get talked to before we do the player grades because it relates to it.
Yeah.
And it's a general hockey question that a lot of people may not understand. And it makes me want to explain, like, we do hockey 101. It may be a 2 or 3 podcast thing.
Yeah.
What's hooking? What's obviously we know what holding is, but what's hooking? What's the difference between hooking and tripping? What's boarding? Obviously, I think we all can figure that one out. But,
well, I mean, we kind of know what boarding is, but maybe the general the news fans don't.
I'm just saying some of them are obvious. I mean,
tripping is obvious.
Really, P.L. Dubois is not going out and selling his body and hooking somewhere. It's actually a hockey term, people. So, I mean, the first time I ever shut up, Cody, you're making me laugh.
Oh, look, there's Dubois in the corner of Figueroa. He's hooking.
Okay. Anyways, let's go back to where we were before we go crazy off on this thing. And that's the most I've laughed on one of these podcasts. Thank you, guys.
I was not expecting that. That was funny, though.
Yeah, sorry. It just popped in my head because the first thing the first time when I was younger, I'm going, oh, and the guy's hooking, and I'm going like, what? I mean, I was a young man. Hooking? I mean, I had heard the term.
Well, to be honest, when I was younger, since I grew up more with hockey than the dirty mind, when I heard hooker, I thought like that was someone that kind of did more hooking in hockey because I knew what hooking was at a younger age, obviously.
Well, yeah, because
so for me, it was like the opposite effect of you.
You were stuck watching hockey games with me.
Oh darn!
Yeah,
but so let's move on to the last series, Vancouver Edmonton, the last one that hasn't finished. That one's going to Game 7.
And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I thought Edmonton would have taken them out sooner.
I thought so too.
I mean, I got to tell you, Vancouver looks for real, which that scares the hell out of me being a Kings fan. Because
and a third string
Vancouver and Edmonton
with their third string goalie too.
Yeah, he might not be the third string after this.
Yeah, I wouldn't be.
Although he did get pretty well beat up in this last game yesterday.
I didn't watch it, so I don't know if that was
didn't
like
either,
more.
But it was a 5-1. If you guys probably heard. You guys probably, if you're hockey fans, you've looked at the, on your phone or something. You've looked up the games if you're a hockey fan.
So we'll do a quick recap. Vancouver won Game 1, 5-4. Edmonton came back and won in overtime in Game 2, 4-3. Then Vancouver won Game 3, 4-3. Game 4, Edmonton won 2-3. Game 5, Vancouver won 5-3. And in Game 6 last night, Edmonton won 5-1. I mean, if you think about all the games have been a one-goal game except for the last game.
Yeah, it's incredible.
So it was funny because I think just before we started the podcast, I saw Lewis message me. He's like, who do you got? The Canucks or the Oilers? I'm like, yes. Because to be honest, this series can go either way. So
well, Vancouver does have the advantage at home.
Yeah, they do have home ice advantage. And actually, I think I just saw on my phone that Brock Besser may not be playing the rest of the playoffs. Which
that's gonna hurt.
And because he has a blood clot.
Ooh.
So pray for him. And hopefully he gets better in time for next season. And then also real quick about let's finish with the series and then I'll bring up the Colorado player. Who do you think's gonna win the last game? Yeah, and they play tomorrow at 6:00.
Right.
Oh, okay. Well, they play Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for all you people. We're recording this Sunday. I'll post this tomorrow.
We're giving it away by saying it tomorrow at 6:00. We are.
So
you guys will figure out that we're recording on Sunday.
Yeah.
Anyways, gosh, originally I would have said Edmonton easy, but dang, I'm gonna stay with Edmonton. I think after 5-1, I mean, you got two of the best players in the game.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with Vancouver.
Good.
Yeah. And I believe
loser buys the beer.
Loser buys the beer. And I'm pretty sure most Ducks fans, I mean, even though Henrique, Carrick, and Perry are all on that team, but we all do want to see also Edmonton lose, because if they lose, that pick we get from Edmonton from the Henrique Carrick trade is a better pick. I believe
that's why he picked Vancouver. He doesn't think they're going to win. He wants them to win.
Yeah.
Well, you're a true Duck fan, son.
If Vancouver wins, who are you taking? Dallas or Vancouver?
Oh, Dallas.
Yeah. And if Edmonton wins,
Dallas.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think Dallas is one of those. Colorado, Dallas, Rangers, Florida, even the Bruins, Carolina. Those are all possible Stanley Cup champion teams. They're a step above everybody else in my book.
Yeah.
So.
All right, and then the Eastern Conference side, Florida or New York?
I got to stick with New York.
Oof.
That's because I picked them to be there. Because I picked Boston to be Florida originally. But Florida, man, they are tough.
Yeah. And
if that doesn't go 7 games, I'll be shocked.
And Matthew Tkachuk hasn't even gone off yet.
They're deep and they're tough.
Barkov looks great.
Barkov, Selke winner.
Oh yeah, and he did win the Selke by a landslide.
Oh, did he?
I believe so. They posted some of the voting. I believe
I haven't seen any of that, Cody.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, but
we'll talk about that next podcast.
See, and here's also why I'm gonna go with Florida. And the one thing I'm happy about is, when the Ducks drafted Leo Carlsson last year with a 2nd overall pick, they were saying that he was similar to a Kopitar and a Barkov player. And I would happily, if Leo becomes even just the bottom end of Kopitar and Barkov, he's still going to be a fantastic player. Yeah, there's about 2 legends right here.
Two-way players that play the game the way every player probably should, but just doesn't have the ability to do. That's what makes them special.
I would be ecstatic if Carlsson became anything, even half of Kopitar and Barkov, because those are like some of the best players in the league. And I forgot who said it. They're saying who's probably the most underrated player, and a lot of people just say Barkov because you don't. A lot of people don't talk about him, but he puts up good numbers and he looks good.
Well, we have a guy named Quentin Byfield who's going to be learning from Kopi.
Yeah,
And I think he's going to, maybe him and Carlson will be in competition for that
that'd be
Selke
great.
Award. Because, I mean, the one thing he picked up his game big time this year, not just scoring, but he was playing defense.
Yeah.
So, well, let's move on.
And last bit of news is Val Nikushkin from the Colorado Avalanche is going back into the players' assistance program. So this will be his third time going in, I believe. And just I believe that since this is his third, they're saying stage 3.
6
so
months.
So he's technically suspended for 6 months without pay, and I believe that he has to be cleared too. I believe.
Yeah.
Just so something's obviously going. Something's up with him. So just I hope everything's better with him. I don't know what he's going through. It's not it's not my business to know what he's going through, but I really hope whatever he is going through, he gets through it and becomes a better person outside of it.
Everybody pray for him.
Yeah.
If you do pray for him. I mean, he's got some issues and they're serious and they could be life-threatening. So I'm going to pray for him, even though he's not on part of my team. But like I said, I'm number one a hockey fan more than anything else. I love hockey.
Yep.
So.
All right. And so we will go do player grades right after this ad break. So we will be right back. Hey Ducks and Kings fans, step into the spotlight and make your prom night unforgettable with our exclusive prom night photo shoot package. For just $150, immerse yourself in the beauty of the great outdoors as our professional photographer captures your radiant glow against nature's backdrop. Prefer an indoor setting? No worries. At $300, experience a studio session where every click of the camera amplifies your elegance and style. Each 45-minute session guarantees you 10 high-quality images, a timeless memento of a night filled with laughter, dance, and unforgettable memories. But wait, there's more. We also specialize in senior photos, graduation photos, and quinceañeras. Because every milestone is a story waiting to be told. So why wait? Book now and let us narrate your journey through our lenses. Contact us at 951-719-6377 or at Christina122193 at gmail.com, or go follow us on Instagram at Xtina's Photo on Instagram. That's XTINAS Photo for a glimpse into how we turn every shot into a masterpiece. All right, guys, and now we're back with player grades.
Oh.
Or actually, no, let's do the question first.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's funny, the person who asked this question was my wife.
Yep.
And this is what she said it on Instagram.
Yep.
Please explain the point system. And I have no idea what any of it means when you say plus or minus. Cody, why don't you go ahead and explain the point system, and I'll explain the plus minus.
Well, so technically there's two different point systems, technically. So there's the team point system for wins and losses and ties.
I don't think that's what she's talking about, though.
I know, but I'm just saying this now. Because think about when we go over standings, when we go over the double IHF. So just because I can go over them real quick. The team one for NHL is if a team wins in overtime or regulation, it's 2 points. If a team loses in regulation, they get 0 points. And if a team loses in overtime or shootout, they get 1 point unless they're the Minnesota Wild and pull their goalie in overtime like that, and the team scores an empty netter. So that's something we just learned this year, and a lot of people didn't
know that.
Yeah. So that's 1 point system. The one that my mom is talking about is for when we talk about players' points. So whenever a player scores a goal or an assist, it's considered a point. So say for Ducks fans, Trevor Zegras scores 2 goals and has 1 assist. He had 3 points that game. So all you really do is add up the goals and assists, and that's how many points he has for the year.
Correct.
So like with Nikita Kucherov, he had 44 goals and 100 assists. So he had 144 points. So that's the best way to put it. So each time a player scores or gets an assist, and for assist, it's the last 2 players to touch the puck on your team. Sometimes it's 1 because only 1 player got it, or it's unassisted. So, like I said, the point system is it's pretty simple. It's a goal and assist is considered a point.
Correct.
Yep. If you guys have any other questions, please feel free to message us, let us know, and I can go into more detail if that's not enough. I hope that is.
For our Hockey 101, we're going to go over stuff like that, and I think we could probably do 3 or 4 podcasts on just
Easily
hockey terms and all the little things people would need to know about a hockey game. Now, when we say plus minus is while you're on the ice, and this is even strength, either 5-on-5, 4-on-4, 3-on-3. You score 2 goals, give up 1, you're a +1. So every goal you score is a +1, but every goal you give up while you're on the ice is a -1. So you could end up being even. We had that one game where, what was it? Kopitar was a -6. That's just probably the worst game for a plus-minus he's ever had in a game. So plus-minus, even strength, goals for, goals against. You have more for, you're going to be a plus. You have goals against more, you're going to be minus.
Yeah.
So when we talk about you being a plus 50, that means the team scored 50 more goals than you gave up. 50 more, a plus 50 more. So that's really good. It's probably going to be a league leader, I would think.
Yeah.
So
a lot of my player grades, especially for defense, were based on plus. I know it's not a good stat to go off of because it's like a team thing, but when you're a team like the Ducks that struggled this year, and you see players in the positive, that's a good sign. So, all right, you want to get into player grades now?
let's do it.
All right, you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
I'll go first.
Go for it.
Okay, we're going to talk about our number 1 defensive player to start off, Drew Doughty. Drew Doughty played 82 games. He had 15 goals, 35 assists for a total of 50 points. And he was a plus 15. That's good. Only 44 penalty minutes. I'm not going to go into all the blocks and everything else. I'm going to give you the basic stats. Most people don't even know about blocks and hits, and maybe we'll go over that over the off season so you guys will understand those. But I gave Drew Doughty an A-.
Yep. All right. I'm gonna start off very negative on this first one. And you already know who I'm gonna talk about.
Cam Fowler.
So in 81 games, he had 5 goals, 34 assists for 39 points. Plus minus -36. He had 27 penalty minutes. Can I not scoot over in this thing? Let's see if I can do it real quick. Oh, it only shows that much. All right, great. All right, never mind. And he had two power play goals, and that's all it shows on this. Maybe I might switch to a different stat thing while you're talking on the next one. But yeah, I gave Cam Fowler a D+. For someone that's making for someone that's making as much as he is, and on I forgot what website it is, they grade players like on their like rating for each game, And I think for the longest time, Cam Fowler had like 3 of the worst rated games played. Like, like he had like 3 games in like the top 10, I want to say. And that's not, he had 3, he had the most out of anyone. So he's just someone that's making too much to be playing that, not that bad. And I still don't think that he should be a power play quarterback anymore. And you guys have heard me say that, and I think that's another reason why I'm really happy that we got rid of Newell Brown as our assistant coach, because he was the one that kept putting Fowler out there. So I'm gonna say a D plus for Fowler.
Okay. I'm going to go on to Matt Roy. Played in 81 games. Had 5 goals, 20 assists, 25 points. It was a plus 21, 42 minutes and penalties. Now, you have typically on each team, you'll have 3 pairs of defensemen. Your number 1, your number 2, and your number 3. And Drew Doughty is obviously a number 1. Matt Roy was part of the number 2 line with Gavrikov. And he's plus 21. That's really good. Now, he's going to be a UFA, guys. I just don't know if we have the money to spend on him this year. I think he's going to be an unfortunate casualty this year. I gave Roy a B-. He scored 9 goals last year, only had 5 this year. I was hoping for another improvement, but he didn't improve in that. Other one, probably I would have given him a B+, but because he wasn't better than last year, I gave him a B-.
Yeah.
On to you, Cody.
All right. Well, sorry, I was on the wrong website for the stats. I'm gonna just finish Fowler's stats real quick. So he had, let's see, 24 penalty minutes, 41 hits, 119 blocks, and he had 109 shots on goal. So my next player will be Pavel Mintyukov. So he played 63 games, 4 goals, 24 assists, had 28 points with a minus 20. 24 penalty minutes, 85 hits, 65 blocks, and he had 88 shots on goal. And he had 7 power play assists. So I gave him an A-, because 1, he wasn't anyone who I was expecting him to start in the AHL, and right away he was, if it wasn't for injuries, I think he would have had probably the most points as a defenseman for a rookie. Maybe he was leading for a while. I know he was one of the top 3 for sure. I mean, but when you're playing as many minutes as Luke Hughes and Brock Faber, and you're still putting up that many points on a very crappy team, that's why I gave him A-. And he looked good. And I was there for his first. Did he score? Yeah, I think he scored. At the home opener. I was at that game where he scored his first goal. So yeah, I gave Pavel Mintyukov an A-.
Okay, next for me is going to be Jordan Spence. Jordan played 71 games, 2 goals, 22 assists for 24 points. 10 less games, only 1 less point than Matt Roy. But he was only a +5. But he was on the 3rd team. He didn't have... The 3rd team is... First team's usually your 2 best defenders, and it goes down, just like that does on the lines. Like Kopi's going to be on the number 1 line, probably Deneau number 2. Then you had Dubois number 3 line. Just so you guys understand that. It was his rookie year. I liked him. I did. I liked him. I wish it was a little better than a +5. He had a lot of opportunities that didn't just seem to play into goals. He had more opportunities than he did score goals. So I was battling with what to grade him, because I think he's going to be the 3rd line right D next year for sure.
Yep.
And I think Brant Clark's going to be in the number 2 right D, probably playing with Gavrikov. That's what I think is going to happen. But it was between a C+ and a B-. But you know what? I want to be generous because I like him. I'm going to give him a B-. On to you, Cody.
All right. My next one is Radko Gudas. He had 66 games, 6 goals, 12 assists for 18 points, a plus 14. Yeah. He was the highest in plus minus for the Ducks.
He was a good pickup.
Yeah.
He really was.
But here was the one downside. 128 penalty minutes.
Well, you get what you get.
Yeah. But here's the thing.
He's a tough boy.
232 hits. 154 blocks. Like this guy, he's not called the butcher for nothing. I would have given him a little bit higher of a grade if it wasn't for all the penalties, but I love the energy he brings. I felt like right around like halfway of the season, I felt like he started becoming more of like the captain role without being the captain. And like you could tell like he took more responsibility. And I mean, I just love the energy he brings. Because I could tell you whenever he gets a big hit or when he scores, I feel like a whole burst of energy. Just the energy, like I said, he's just one of those players you love to have on your team. I gave him A-.
With Vladislav Gavrikov, 77 games, 6 goals, total of 17 assists for 23 points. He was a +9. Roy's a +21. He's a +9. Let me look. I want to look at his stats real quick. There he is. He had 114 blocks. He had 1 game-winning goal. Only 114 shots. Okay. That's probably why he didn't score more. He didn't shoot enough. I originally had him as a B-, but he's going to be a C+. Because I think Matt Roy played better than him. I'm not going to give him the same grade. And he's signed for this next year, but then he's a free agent after a UFA after 2025. So we'll see if they re-sign him because he got a pretty good contract. I think he needs to play a little better to earn that contract.
Yep.
I mean, that's my opinion. So that's Vladislav Gavrikov, guys, a C+.
All right. My next one is Jackson Lacombe. 71 games, 2 goals, 15 assists for 17 points. He was a -24. He had 24 penalty minutes, 50 hits, and 129 blocks. And he had 2 power play assists, 1 shorthanded assist, and 1 game-winning goal. So it was his rookie year, still technically rookie because he only technically played 2 games last year, 1 game, 2 or 3 games last year. Because he came over right after Minnesota got eliminated in the NCAA tournament. This one was a tough one. The stats don't really look like right, but the thing is, he was playing in someone that's still brand new to the NHL. He was playing on his offside a lot. So when we say offside, like imagine you're a soccer player and you're right-footed and you're playing on the left side. It's a lot harder to kick the ball out with your left foot than your right foot when you're right-footed, And if you think about it with hockey is every time he had the puck, he was facing with his backhand pretty much. So to get the puck out, and it's a lot harder to handle the puck and everything on your backhand. So, and it didn't help that he was playing a lot with Fowler too. So I kind of put that into the mix too, and I gave him a B-. I feel like a little generous with it, but with all that and everything, he like at times he did look good. But when you're a rookie playing your off wing or offside a lot, then it's it's very difficult.
It's true. Well, my next one is Mikey Anderson. He played in 74 games, 2 goals, 16 assists, 18 points, a team high plus 22. Only guy to beat Byfield in the plus minus. He missed those 8 games. We missed him there. I mean, he's the guy that backs up Doughty when he's wanting to play offense. And he's still a plus 22. And I only gave him a B plus, but I'm going to give him an A minus because he's the guy that stops. He usually gets McDavid, which who can stop him? But he does slow him down.
Yeah.
So Mikey Anderson, A minus.
All right. My next one is Urho Vakanainen. He had 68 games, 1 goal, 13 assists for 14 points. He was even in plus or minus. He had 26 penalty minutes, 55 hits, and 79 block shots, and 1 shorthanded assist. Urho Vakanainen, he finally got his first NHL goal. You know how many times I've watched this guy play? He scores a goal, and it was either tipped by another player, or when he finally scored a goal that wasn't tipped,
Offside.
it was off. They reviewed the play and someone was offside. It happened, I want to say 4 or 5 times just this season alone. And even when he scored his 1 goal, it was reviewed for it was offside or something, and he was like, "Oh crap, not again!" And when they finally announced it, it was hilarious. So, this was like the first time we've really got to see Vakanainen play, because he was always like riddled with injuries a lot. So someone that finally got and he looked good. He was a good right-handed defenseman. I gave him a B, just because he wasn't a liability out there.
Okay.
So I like the way he plays. So a B for me.
Andreas England. I didn't even think he'd make the team, to be honest with you, before the season started. They signed him like to a 2-year contract because they were expecting to send him to the AHL, but nobody would pick him up because they wouldn't want to be on the hook for 2 years. But he stuck it out, played all 82 games, 1 goal, 9 assists. He was for 10 points. He was a -3. 81 penalty minutes, led the Kings in penalty minutes. He was okay. What would you grade an okay? I gave him a C.
See? All right. My next one is Gustav Lindstrom. Someone that we picked up midway through, but he still played 32 games, 0 goals, 6 assists for 6 points, and a plus 12. And he had 18 penalty minutes, 54 hits, and 40 blocks. Someone that was also a very just under the radar kind of defenseman for the Ducks. He didn't play every game, but like I said, he was a plus 12. So that means he was on the ice for more goals for than against, like we talked about earlier. So for that, and like I said, he did look good when he was in. So I gave him a B minus.
Okay. Got to go with the future of the franchise right now, Mr. Brant Clark. Now, he played 16 games. He had 2 goals, 4 assists for 6 points. He was a -6. He had 10 penalty minutes. You have to think that you're thinking of only 6 points and 16 points for the future number 1 guy. Well, when they brought him up is when they were playing like crap. That's when they had that 17 game slide where they won only like 3 games and lost 14. He was playing, but he was only getting 6 minutes, 8 minutes, 5 minutes sometimes in a game. My original grade for him was a C, but I'm going to give him a C plus. He made the All-Star team for the AHL. He's been riding with the Reign all the way to the Pacific Division championship against Coachella Valley. He was the number one defenseman for him. So, and he's the future of the franchise. I gave him a C+.
Speaking of future of the franchise, Olin Zellweger. 26 games, 2 goals, 7 assists for 9 points, was a -6, 4 penalty minutes, 14 hits, and 38 blocks. This is our future power play quarterback, guys. So, like I said, he was a difference maker when he was on the ice for offensive. I can tell you that. He talking about elite skating skills. This is what he has. And he was a steal. Like, let's just say he was a steal for a second round pick. I think he was probably one of the steals of the draft.
I agree totally with you.
So for my grade for this year, a rookie defenseman and everything, and he came up the last part of the season. So I gave Zellweger a B.
Fair grade.
Yep.
My next is Jacob Moverari. Say that 3 times fast. I can't because I butcher names anyways. So
yeah, we'll talk about that later.
That's my we're not going to talk about that later. I already know I do it. I'm not trying to do it. It's just it happens. So.
Some of these names are just hard to say.
Yeah, I can say some of them, but some of them are really like the one. Remember the one time I had to help you say the name? I was shocked that it was
Russian
the
Russian goalie that the Ducks signed. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he had played in 24 games. He had 1 goal, no assist for 1 point, but he had a plus-minus of 0. 6 penalty minutes. I mean, he really didn't have a lot of time. I gave him a C.
Yep.
And that's my last defenseman. I'm going to be going to goalies after that.
All right, let me do my last few defensemen.
Okay, and then we'll go to goalies.
I got the last one that remained with the Ducks fully this year was William Lagesson. He played 10 games, -2, 13 penalty minutes, 20 hits, and 19 blocks. I gave him a C+. And then the next one is Tristan Luneau. Where did his thing go? I just had it. Where did it go? I just had it. There it is. Luneau, 7 games played, 1 goal, 2 assists, 3 points. He was a +1, 4 penalty minutes, 9 hits, 4 blocks. I gave him a C+. I just hope everything's good with him because he had was that like a knee infection? He's been out since like the beginning of before the new year started. So hopefully he's ready to go because that's someone who I would expect to see on the Ducks next year. And then the last 2 were both traded this year. We had Jamie Drysdale, guys. He was part of the Cutter Gauthier trade. Jamie Drysdale played 10 games. 1 goal, 4 assists for 5 points, was a -2. 4 penalty minutes, 8 hits, and 16 blocks. I gave him a C+. And then the last one is, where did it go? I just saw it. It was Ilya Lyubushkin. We traded him to the Toronto Maple Leafs. He played 55 games, 0 goals, 4 assists for 4 points, was a -13. He had 51 penalty minutes, 112 hits, 138 blocks. I gave him a C+ as well. Actually, I'll give him a B- because I think he was the reason why Minchikov was playing well. He was tutoring Minchikov, and I felt like that really helped since they're both Russian too, and I believe Minty was living with him maybe for a little bit too. So, all right, and that's it for defensemen.
All right, so on to goalies, and I'm going to start off with our number 1, Cam Talbot. He played in 54 games. He started 52 of them. He had 27 wins, 20 losses, 6 overtime losses, and he gave up 130 goals against for a 2.50 goals against average. He saved 1,360 saves on 490 shots for a .913 save percentage, 3 shutouts. He played 3,116 minutes, and I gave Cam Talbot a B+. I thought that was well above what was expected of him.
Yeah.
Especially for the last 2 years prior, he was basically injury prone, hardly played, but didn't play a lot. So
Yeah.
that's our number one.
I'm going to go with John Gibson to start. He had 46 games played, started 44. He had 13 wins, 27 losses. Is that goals against? Yeah, goals against. He had 151 goals against with a 3.54 goals against average. 1,343 shots against, 1,192 saves for an .888 save percentage. And he had 2 overtime losses. I gave him a B-. He's been better than years past. I can't really blame the goalies for the season just because how all around the team was bad.
Right.
So it's hard to really take it all against the goalies when it has to go through 5 other players before them. So
Okay.
But I thought he played a lot better than he has in years past. So I gave him a B-.
Okay. So I'm going to go with number 2. And new contract for Big Save Dave Riddick. He played in 24 games, started 22 of them. He won 13 games. He lost 6. And he lost 3 in overtime. He gave up 49 goals. His goals against average is 2.15. Who knows? Maybe he'll be the number 1. We'll pick up somebody else to be the number 2. He played well. On 621 shots, he saved 572 of them for a .921 save percentage. 3 shutouts. Played 1,365 minutes. I'm going to give Dave an A-.
Ooh.
I went B+, but I'm looking at this and I've changed my mind. A-.
Yeah.
We should have had him up the whole time.
All right. My next goalie, Lukáš Dostal.
Dostal. It's Dostal. Dostal because he's a wall. I want to make sure everybody understands.
All right, it's Lukáš Dostal.
It's not him mispronouncing like I do. It's his funny little nickname for Lukáš.
Yeah. So Dostal had 44 games played, 38 games started, 14 wins, 23 losses, 129 goals against with a 3.33 goals against average, 1,310 shots against, 1,181 saves with a .902 average. And he had the only shutout for the Ducks this year and 3 overtime losses.
I do believe he'll be the number 1 next year.
I agree with you.
Yeah. I got one more.
Whoa.
Oh, you're not
I
done?
didn't even give him a grade yet.
Oh, you didn't?
No. God, you're jumping the gun here.
A+ for your Dostal?
Well, I had him at a B+, but screw it. A-.
Okay.
I'm gonna give him an A-.
He had some really 54 save game, I think, right? Something like that. He had 50 plus save games.
Yeah.
He was there was at times he was incredible. But when he was bad, he was bad.
Yeah. There was one game where I can't blame him because it was like a back-to-back. I think they went from Nashville, then went to Denver on a back-to-back, and you're going into Denver where the altitude is a mile high. So it's a lot harder. And, on a back-to-back game, it was just like just a game already lost for the Ducks.
Okay.
So I'm going to give Dostal a A-.
Okay. And I have one last one. Phoenix Copley played 8 games, started 8 games. He won 4, lost 1, lost 2 in overtime. Had a 3.16 goals against average. He faced 177 shots, 154 saves, but only an .870 save percentage. He did have a shutout. I gave him a C+.
Yep.
And that's the end of my Kings player grades for this season.
Did you do coaches, right?
I did not do coaches. I forgot about the coaches.
I'll do mine real quick. That way you got. I'll finish. I'll do my little team thing while you're coming up with, or you already kind of got your coaches' grades.
Okay, I'm on it. You go ahead and start.
All right. I'll cover you for a little bit if you need more time too. All right. Greg Cronin, first year as a NHL head coach. There's a lot of things I liked what he did, and there was a lot of stuff I did not like that he did. The team, I would say the team all around did look better under him than it did in our last coach with he who shall not be named, even though I already said his name earlier. I gave Cronin a C+, but I think that with the right coaches that he gets to pick now, I think that's going to be better. Like I said, the C+ thing was also for not changing some of the power play stuff. Even I know he wasn't in charge, but you're the head coach. You can say something. And then the whole just all the penalties that were taken. I think we led the league in too many men penalties. We obviously led the league in penalties overall. He didn't address that really as much. There was no discipline. The only discipline he gave was to Trevor Zegras. And I get he's like kind of like the face of the franchise, but like you're only disciplining one player where, I mean, other players were doing stupid penalties that were making worse decisions than Zegras was. So it would have been higher if it wasn't for all those penalties and the discipline thing. So right now I'd say C+ for Greg Cronin. Craig Johnson, to be honest, I don't know what he was in charge of, to be honest, or anything like that. I just gave him a C. And Newell Brown,
F.
My only F.
Okay.
And I was so happy to see him gone. So real quick for the team ranks, I got the Kings ones up too. So that way but the Ducks were ranked 30th for goals for with 203. They were ranked 30th for goals against and 30th for assist. We had the 20th ranked 23rd for power play percentage at 18.3. Penalty kill, we were 31st, so we were second to last, shockingly, with 72.4%. We obviously led the league in penalty minutes with 1,108, and we were 28th in shooting percentage with a 0.9 or a 0.093. Do you have your stuff ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
I'm going to start off with who started coaching Todd McClellan. He was relieved of his duties right after the All-Star game. But, we had a great start. We got into a funk, and that's why he lost his job. But I still think Todd McClellan, it wasn't his fault. The players weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing. I give Todd McClellan a B+.
I can see that.
Then we have our interim coach, and he was our special teams coach, Jim Hiller. Jim Hiller did bring us out of the slump. So that was really good. I mean, the one thing that only drive me crazy is the mixing up of lines like he did was kind of, sometimes I'd come into the game a little later, and then all of a sudden I got Byfield playing with Dubois, and the next thing you know, he's playing with Lizotte. But he did do a pretty good job, and his interim job is up in the air because the Kings can not have him be, or they can hire a new coach. But I'm gonna give Jim Hiller. I think we had the number 2 ranked PK, which Cody will go over in a minute. Since you
Yep.
have those stats, I'll keep you
Yep.
to that word. He brought that from awful to number 2 in the league, at least, or maybe we're 3 or 4 now, because obviously we lost it in the playoffs with Edmonton. The difference in the Edmonton series, guys, was power play. We had 0 power play goals. They had like 9. They were 50% on power plays. So, anyways, I give Jim Hiller an A-. And then we have Derek Johnson. He was his first year with as an assistant coach and 5th with the Kings organization. He was the previous video coach. He worked with the coordinators and so forth. I'm going to give him a B. Then they brought in DJ Smith once McClellan was gone to take Hiller's spot. And he was a previous head coach for the Ottawa Senators from 2019 to 2000. He got let go this year, 2024. And he also served as a assistant coach for the Toronto Maple Leafs after spending 4 seasons behind the bench alongside Hiller before being hired at Ottawa. Well, anyways, he was part of the team. I'm going to give him a B. Trent Yanni was also a coach. I don't think any of this was Trent Yanni's fault. I'm going to give him a B. Then you want to go over those stats, Cody?
Yeah. So for the Kings team ranks, both of the ones I found were from Yahoo Sports. Goals for, they were 16th in the league with 254 goals. They were 3rd in the league for goals against with 210. Assists, they were 16th for 430. 431. Their power play was 11th at 22.6%, and penalty kill was 2nd at 84.6%. Penalty minutes, they were 12th with 715, and shooting percentage, they were 22nd with a .097. So Ducks, that's where we want to see our penalty kill. The Kings was at 84.6. The Ducks had 72.4. And like I said, power play. The Ducks were at 18.3 and the Kings were at 22.6. I would rather see us in the top 16 than the bottom, where we've been. But obviously, that's something I would like to aim for.
Okay, is it trivia time?
Oh yeah, trivia time. That's right.
So we kind of saved it till the end.
We'll save it to the end. Yep.
Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
How many times has an Anaheim Mighty Duck player won the Maurice Rocket Richard Trophy? How many times? Part B, who were they?
Rocket Richard. That's most goals.
I gave you a hint. There's more than one.
That was most goals, right?
Most goals.
Okay, I know Corey Perry was one.
Yes.
Because that was the year he won the Hart. I think that was 2011.
He's the only Duck to ever win the Hart. That was going to be another question, but I like this one better. So.
Okay, I'm trying to think. Most goals. Teemu
Solani, 98-99. He won the Rocket Richard.
So that's 2. Is there another one?
No.
Oh,
there's
okay.
2.
Yeah, the Perry one was definitely the one I remembered the most.
Yeah, he had a great year that year.
Yeah. If you guys think about it, he won the Rocket Richard in 2011. I believe it was 2011.
Yep.
With
2010, 2011.
Yeah. He scored the most goals with 50 and won the Hart, which is, the MVP with, I think he had 99 points that year.
I don't know that.
I don't think he reached 100 points. But this is if you look at how the scoring has gone throughout the years, it's really changed since the 04-05 lockout. Before that, it was teams were scoring a lot, and then from the lockout till about 2-3 years ago, still not a lot of people were scoring. But now it's you see players reaching 100 assists or almost hitting 70 goals. Like, think about Austin Matthews almost hit 70 goals. He
Yeah.
hit 69 goals, and Perry had the most with 50. Times have changed, and we're starting to see more scoring, which is good. So,
Correct.
yeah. So I'm excited for the whole more scoring thing.
Yeah, it's
Because
going to be fun.
it's
I'm
we're seeing,
excited to have hockey in the fall
yeah.
with a
I'm
different kind of hockey.
yeah. Well, we already get the NHL in the fall, but
Yeah, I know. But
we'll see something
there's
different.
more hockey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, even with the more scoring, you're still seeing goalies with pretty decent like save percentage too. So
Yeah.
I'm
That's true.
excited. So, all right, well, that's gonna be it for this week's episode of Royally Quacked. Please like, subscribe, follow us on Instagram, Twitter. We're on all the major podcast platforms: Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, Overcast, iHeart. You know, and we actually did hit 250 downloads last night.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And guys, please help us get to 500 even quicker than we hit the 250. So, please tell your family, friends, co-workers, or just that random person you see with a hockey jersey or something. Just tell them, hey, do you listen to Royally Quacked? You should. But you have anything else to add for this week?
I think I do. Other than say goodbye.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that's it for this week. So I'm Cody.
And I'm Gary. Go Kings, go.
Let's go Ducks.